50-year-old grandmother Helen Stephens lives in a normal house on a normal street, but has a far from normal life. She suffers from an extraordinary and undiagnosed condition, which makes her feel like her muscles are tearing, ripping, and swelling, causing unbearable pain and putting pressure on her organs. Last year, this made her a global news story.
My story was splashed all over the newspapers. They called me the Incredible Hulk. I do feel like the Hulk. The ripping, the tearing, the pain.
For 14 years, 7 of which she's been bedridden, Helen has been seeking answers to find out what is triggering her attacks.
I'm really scared now because the attacks are getting worse. 1, 2, 3.
Doctors are baffled as to what is causing her spasms. Helen is embarking on a journey to diagnosis, to reclaim the life she's lost and be a mum and grandmother again. For 7 years, Helen Stephens has been a prisoner in her own home, held captive by her failing body.
Every single day, I wake up to the same thing. It's like being in a coffin. Ow.
She is suffering from a mysterious condition that is baffling doctors. She feels as if her body is being ripped apart by debilitating muscle spasms that have left her unable to walk.
It's like someone's got red-hot pokers digging into me. Pain runs up and down my spine, and I feel like I'm being tortured.
Her attacks can be triggered by the simplest of stimuli.
Cold is one of the big ones, stress is one of the big ones, worry is another one. Ow. Oh my God. Loud noises, bright lights. Somebody popping a balloon could set it off. Ow.
As a result of her muscle spasms, Helen is unable to move unaided, requiring round-the-clock care for even the simplest of activities.
And it's got to the point where I don't let people see me. I just cry sometimes at night because I've lost so much.
Over the past decade, Helen's attacks have become so violent that she's worried the next could stop her breathing and kill her.
I started to make preparations for my death. A will, a living will, everything so that nothing fell on my children. I just want to know that if I was supposed to leave this earth, I wouldn't be leaving anybody with any burdens.
So you got a little bit of tremor there.
Yeah.
Just feel that.
For the first time, Helen is being referred to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham, where her consultant, Dr. Sturman, now heads the neuro-rehabilitation service. He specialises in the diagnoses and treatment of conditions affecting the nervous system.
After a long period of observing Helen, we realised that her symptom cluster and the way her symptoms occurred were all very much in keeping with the recognised criteria for stiff person syndrome.
Stiff person syndrome is a rare movement disorder characterised by involuntary painful spasms and rigidity of muscles, and makes sufferers feel like their muscles are hardening and swelling. The effects can be shocking.
It's extremely distressing to be in pain and to be unable to function, to be disabled acutely and inexplicably.
Muscles are made up of bundles of muscle fibres. Each fibre receives command signals from the brain through wire-like nerve cells. Normally, when a command arrives to move, each targeted nerve cell releases chemicals into the muscle fibres, causing them to contract. The more signals sent from the brain, the bigger the movement. But the messages sent from the brain of an SPS sufferer are interfered with by rogue antibodies in the immune system, rendering those messages unregulated and uncontrollable, resulting in involuntary, violent, and extreme muscle spasms. Exactly like the debilitating spasms Helen says she suffers with.
If people with stiff person syndrome aren't treated, serious consequences can occur. We wouldn't want a stiff person syndrome spasm to run endlessly without treatment. It would be dangerous.
But for Helen, it's not that simple, and she remains without a diagnosis.
The challenge in Helen's case has been that there are some atypical features in her condition, which has led to a division in opinion, I have to say. Even now, people have struggled to conclude what we should label Helen's case as.
With doctors unable to give Helen a firm diagnosis of SPS, she is no nearer to having the treatment that could truly enhance her quality of life. Because of this, Dr. Sturman is unable to treat the cause of her symptoms and is only able to manage them with industrial quantities of tranquilizers.
Helen is on very large doses of medication, including Valium. To give you some idea, the average dose of Valium needed to render somebody reasonably sleepy and able to undergo a minor procedure such as endoscopy would be 10 milligrams. Helen's on 30 milligrams 4 times a day.
That's enough to knock out 12 adults.
The problem is you don't know how bad it's going to be. You don't know whether you're going to have to end up back in hospital again. You're not in any control of this whatsoever. And people don't understand.
Earlier this year, Helen's fears came true when she experienced one of the worst attacks she has ever had.
Ow! Ow! Ow!
Over the next hour, Helen's symptoms intensify. And the attack takes a worrying turn when she starts suffering chest pains. Her carer has no option but to call the emergency services.
Ambulance, please. She's having lots of spasms. She's having difficulty breathing. Her whole body's in spasms, really. They're on their way, Helen.
Hello. What's your name? Helen. Where's the pain then?
Just.
Frightened and struggling to breathe, Helen has to put her trust and her life in the hands of the paramedics.
You're quite hot. You had a temperature, cough or cold or anything?
Pain.
Your blood pressure's a bit on the lower side. All right.
Oh my God.
That's it. 1, 2, 3.
With the spasms so severe and showing no signs of subsiding, she is rushed to hospital. The following day, Helen is back home and contemplating on her life ahead.
These attacks are getting worse and they're really frightening me now.
Concerned about the increasing strength of her spasms and unable to go on any longer without a diagnosis for her condition, she arranges a consultation with her neurologist, Dr. Sturman.
I need to be able to move on in my life. 14 years of this hell is really been a long time. I just want some peace, security, independence and dignity in my life.
Helen's life is now a stark contrast to how it used to be. Back in the 1990s, Helen had a very different, full and busy life, with a successful career in social work and 3 young children to bring up.
I describe mum as a cool mum, not one you can be embarrassed about, you know, introducing your mum to your friends.
My house was always filled with children. I'd get on the floor, we'd be rolling, we'd be dancing, we'd have music on, we'd be doing the latest dance moves.
Mum was always upbeat and always energetic about everything she does. She goes into a room, she lights it up. I think that's the only way I can describe it.
Smile, Helen.
Get the face in and not my belly.
No. 3, 2. Okay, yes.
We just go, pick up and go anywhere, have adventures in France.
We are having the original baguette here, French baguette.
Everyone you speak to, if you say describe Helen, my mum, it will be like she's energetic, she's understanding, she's fun, she's encouraging.
But after a car accident in 1999, Helen's life changed forever.
A car accident. I was stationed at a major roundabout and got hit at 90 miles an hour.
Although it's never been proved that the crash triggered the onset of her condition, Helen never properly recovered. And the first mysterious symptoms began to take hold.
The pain and the spasms just kept increasing and increasing.
Ow, ow, ow.
I spent the first 6 months in bed. My kids had to help me to the loo. They had to help me bath. They had to help me do everything because they even had to help feed me, right? Because the whole body just shut down and I was stiff as a rock.
Ow, ow, ow.
It seemed very quick, the transition from mum being a breadwinner, mum working, mum, you know, doing the running man in the living room or something, to mum in bed. Basically her whole life went into her bedroom. I do want my old mum back, because from being lively to being in bed all the time.
So let's just look at these muscles for a little bit. Let's just get a feel for it now. Just want to have a... Okay. Can we try and get that to massage down and loosen up a bit?
Dr. Sturman was the first consultant that actually believed that I had a physical problem. He has done everything that he can to help me.
The challenge we've got is to get to the bottom of this. And in fairness, as you know, all along we've tried to run the tests to show exactly what's going on. The tests have been inconclusive.
In the past, Dr. Sturman has sent Helen for multiple tests to try and get a definitive diagnosis of SPS. But medical technology has advanced so much, he wants Helen to have these tests again.
Since we first met, and over the last few years, there's been new developments in the tests for stiff person syndrome and other new conditions that have been recognised and described since, as I said, we first started investigating. So I think the time is ripe to look at running these new tests.
One of the blood tests is to detect anti-GAD antibodies. GAD is an intracellular enzyme used in the production of a neurotransmitter called GABA, which regulates messages sent from the brain to the muscles. However, many SPS sufferers have high levels of something called anti-GAD antibodies that interrupt the release of GABA, causing the muscles to spasm and contract uncontrollably. Even though SPS is an incurable condition, if Helen tests positive for the antibodies, she could move on to treatment that would give her a better quality of life.
So next steps from now then, and see if we can come up with some final conclusions and solutions for you.
Fine.
Okay.
Helen leaves the hospital with renewed hope. But can she really allow herself to believe she can get her old life back?
The first thing I would do is take my grandchildren out and my family out and we'd go somewhere on holiday.
Helen is on her way to the Queen Elizabeth Hospital for tests. Her mum is there to support her.
It's really upsetting for me because I know how you were before when you was growing up and how energetic you were, you know, the fun we had. Helen, you know, I do feel helpless of your condition, I do, because it's nothing I can do and it's frustrating. It's hard.
In the hope of receiving clinical proof of her condition, Helen returns to the hospital for multiple blood tests.
We're taking about 5 or 6 bottles.
Yeah.
Some will be used to run tests at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham. Others will be sent to the specialist neurology unit at the John Radcliffe Hospital in Oxford.
Well, let's hope after 14 years something
shows up. Yeah.
And I can get some help.
Yeah.
Today, Helen also undergoes an EMG test arranged by Dr. Sturman. An electromyogram is used to diagnose neurological diseases. It measures the electrical activity and responses of the muscles. Normally, when the brain sends a command to the muscle to contract, chemical messages are sent intermittently to the muscle fibres. However, for SPS sufferers, the chemical message is constant, and this anomaly can show up on the EMG.
I'm hoping that by the end of today we will have a much clearer piece of evidence about the nature of Helen's spasms.
A positive diagnosis could clear the way for her to receive a new treatment. Treatment that is currently being used to manage the condition for other SPS sufferers around the world. 550 miles away, the northern Bavarian town of Würzburg is home to SPS sufferer Ursula Rieck. Like Helen, Ursula became a prisoner of her condition. She suffered for 4 years before she was finally diagnosed with SPS.
Das fing an, ich bin gelaufen und dann auf einmal, denke ich, bin ich hingefallen, gerade wie ich war. Konnte es mir nicht vorstellen, warum, ne?
But just like Helen, when the illness took hold of her body, doctors were baffled.
Im Grunde genommen wusste man gar nicht mehr, was man mit mir machen sollte. Da hat man mich in eine Psychiatrie geschickt. Und die haben mich halt nicht für voll genommen.
Like Helen, Ursula's condition deteriorated to such an extent she was left bedbound.
Die Beine werden krumm, die Füße werden ganz spitz. Ich kann nicht alleine auf Toilette. Dann haben die mich ja da hingesetzt auf die Toilette. Und dann fing auf einmal wieder an, diese Spastik zu kommen. Ne? Dann wurde ich ganz gerade.
Help eventually came in the shape of Professor Claudia Sommer at the University Hospital of Würzburg, a specialist in stiff person syndrome.
Given that she had these very high antibody titers in her blood, we thought that plasma exchange would be the best treatment for her.
Plasma is the liquid part of blood, responsible for transporting substances around the body, even rogue substances like anti-GAD antibodies. Anti-GAD antibodies, which interfere with the brain's messages to the muscles, were found in Ursula's bloodstream. Plasma exchange is a procedure in which the body's existing plasma is removed and a plasma substitute, free from antibodies, is returned in its place. Ursula reacted well to the plasma exchange treatment. She started to regain control of her body and walk again.
We were all very happy when we had seen how much better she got. And it was not only her movements and her walking, it was also her psychological and cognitive state.
Ich wurde ein ganz anderer Mensch wieder. Ich habe mich wieder besser unterhalten können. Ich habe mehr Lust am Leben gehabt. Ne? Diese Plasmapherese, die hat wirklich mein Leben wieder lebenswert gemacht. Ne?
For Ursula, plasma exchange gave her life back. Could it do the same for Helen? But before the treatment is even an option, she needs a definitive diagnosis of SPS. Will her test results see a new world opening for Helen?
I need answers, and I would like to get some help because I'm scared.
14 years ago, 50-year-old Helen Stephens was sentenced to a life of bedridden misery after crippling muscle spasms took over her body.
You don't know how bad it's going to be. You don't know whether you're going to have to end up back in hospital again. You're not in any control of this whatsoever.
1, 2, 3.
It is thought that Helen is suffering with the extremely rare condition stiff person syndrome. It's a disorder that only affects 1 in a million people around the world and is characterized by painful and debilitating muscle spasms. But as treatment for the condition carries a significant risk, a clear diagnosis is needed before doctors will prescribe it. And so far, a clear diagnosis is something that has eluded Helen.
I'm more determined now than ever to get a new diagnosis because I want my life back.
After a 2-week wait, today Helen will finally receive the results of her latest raft of tests from consultant Dr. Steve Sturman. But will she be given the answers she's been looking for?
We're still left a little bit in a diagnostic kind of uncertainty. What we can see is that the intensity of the spasm fluctuates, but the question still remains, where is this coming from? How does it trigger? What are the systems? Is it a typical stiff person type process, or is it some other form of stimulus-sensitive movement disorder?
The tests did not pick up anti-GAD antibodies in Helen's blood, which would have been a clear diagnosis of SPS. Although the results have not given Helen the answer she was looking for, they do qualify for her to undergo a newer, much more sophisticated test.
So what I think the plan would be, if it's okay with you, we'd like you to go and see our colleagues in Oxford and give them the chance to look and have a think as well. And hopefully at the end of all of that we'll be able to come to some sort of consensus, and you know that it's been looked at properly by as many people who are expert in the field as possible.
Oxford's John Radcliffe Hospital and University boasts some of the best scientific minds in the world. Together they have pioneered a new test that has significantly advanced the diagnosis of SPS and other similar conditions.
I have to get treatment because it's been 14 years and my body's racked to death.
With less than 100 people diagnosed with SPS in the UK, Helen is in contact with other sufferers from around the world. While waiting for her test results, she checks in with new friends.
Hello! Hi, how are you?
From Germany to America, they have acted as a global support network.
We just have this personal connection that nobody else has or nobody understands. I will always be here for you, and I know that you'll be my friend and be there for me.
I don't feel so afraid now.
Their success stories of combating SPS have given her hope that she too can return to a normal life.
Thank you. Hi, Sam.
Like Helen, Sam Barr went from active to bedridden in a short space of time. Sam lives in Phoenix, Arizona, in the States. It's best known for its desert landscapes and exceptionally hot summers. The places they call home couldn't be more different, but the experiences they have shared have brought the pair together.
Hi, Sam. Hi, Helen. How are you?
Sam was diagnosed with the condition at the age of 41.
The first time that I noticed something was going wrong was when I was hiking to the top of Four Peaks Mountain and I was having numbness in my feet.
Sam's condition progressed quickly, and within 6 months, the numbness had moved all the way up his body.
I was unable to walk to the mailbox, let alone hike a 10-mile hike.
He began to have periods of severe spasms, with some episodes lasting for hours.
It's as if you're lifting weights for hours on end without stopping. Helen describes this as being kind of like the Incredible Hulk. It's true. I feel similar in that sense that you're not exercising, but your muscle tone keeps increasing.
On average, it takes about 6 to 7 years for someone suffering with SPS to be diagnosed. But unlike Helen, who has gone 14 years without a diagnosis, Sam's came within just 3 months.
I feel very fortunate and lucky that I was diagnosed so quickly.
Unlike Ursula from Germany, who has plasma exchange to control her symptoms, Sam began a treatment called IVIG. It's a blood product which is administered intravenously, extracted from the plasma of over 1,000 blood donors. By adding this purified plasma into the blood of an SPS sufferer, the anti-GAD antibodies are weakened, which in turn helps to control their spasms.
Before the IVIG treatments, it was difficult getting around the house. It was difficult showering.
So you go like this.
Sam is able to receive the IVIG treatment in the comfort of his own home.
I'm on IVIG every 3 weeks. During the first half of the treatment, I feel just fine. I can be on the computer or on the phone. Hello?
He takes this time to contact other SPS sufferers around the world and catch up with friends, including Helen.
How are you doing?
I'm doing well, but it's time for IVIG. That's what this is. I'm hooked up right now.
Okay.
This is the difference between, for me, for being bedridden and being able to go camping.
Hi.
The IVIG treatment has definitely given me my life back. I can take my son to school and we can play and have fun and the things that are important in life.
I got you.
Without it, I would be back to where I was. It's amazing. It gives me a life.
After a restless night's sleep, Helen is preparing to be admitted to the specialist neurological unit at the John Radcliffe Hospital.
So, baby puppy, this is D-Day now.
Yeah. Okay. No, just, I know it's going to be difficult, it's going to be hard. Just try and think of the end game, just try and think positive.
I don't know what's going to happen, right? It might be that I can walk, you know what I mean?
This is something that you've been waiting for and been fighting for years, so
Yeah.
take it, embrace it.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. Come here.
You're not full.
You'll be alright.
Thank you.
With all other tests failing to give Helen a clear diagnosis of SPS, this is her last chance of finding out what is causing her muscle spasms. En route to the hospital, Helen's body begins to spasm uncontrollably. And with the pain piercing through her muscles, the ambulance has to make an unscheduled stop on the side of the road.
Ow! Ow! Ow!
With the intensity of the spasms increasing, Helen once again has to rely on high levels of tranquilizing drugs to stabilize her body. After 45 minutes, her body is finally settled and it's safe to continue to the hospital.
This is not going to beat me, and I'm sure that the hospital will help me in some way for it not to beat me.
After a traumatic trip, Helen finally arrives in Oxford, where she will be given the test that could see an end to her life of bedridden uncertainty.
Ready, steady, start.
Thank you.
All right.
Are you okay?
Are you allergic to anything? Yes.
I'll have one on one then and one on the other hand as well. Okay.
At least I think we do. We should do.
It's a relief because I've been fighting to get here for 14 years. And it's a relief that people genuinely are interested and genuinely want to get to the bottom of whatever is wrong with me.
We need to attain a final diagnosis for Helen so that she can move forward and hopefully regain some of her quality of life, which has been significantly impaired.
We need to do some investigations, blood tests, to do a lumbar puncture, to study her spinal fluid.
If we find the antibodies, it's going to make things much easier because then I'm sure that she will be treated effectively and appropriately.
Before any new tests, Helen needs to have a routine EMG to measure the electrical activity and responses of the muscles.
Oh my goodness me. My fear is how powerful is the spasms going to be. Ow, ow, ow.
You're getting painful
This
spasm.
really here, yeah.
However, it's not long before Helen's muscles start to spasm and she suffers another severe attack.
Oh no, 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 no. Oh my goodness.
Once again, her muscles begin to spasm and contract, giving her the sense that she is being ripped apart.
Ow. Okay. Oh my God.
Are you getting chest pain?
I'm getting chest pain.
Okay, so
yeah.
2 sprays in the back of your mouth.
Ow!
Just try and stay as calm as you possibly can.
I
know it's
calm.
really difficult when you feel like this.
When I get this.
Check your blood pressure now, Helen.
Okay, honey.
The medical team do all they can to release Helen from the paralysing spasms that she's experiencing.
Take
breathe.
some nice deep breaths. If you lift your tongue up, it'll melt, and that's a really fast absorption rate. If you just close your mouth there.
Okay.
You will be all right. Just calm down. Did you have any chest pain?
Yes.
Yeah? I've got an injection of morphine to give.
At least that will help.
After an exhausting hour, Helen's body is stabilised with a cocktail of drugs, and she is finally left to rest. Last night's attack has really taken its toll on Helen's body, and she is left feeling battered and emotionally bruised.
I'm shattered, tired, a bit tearful this morning because I was in a hell of a lot of pain.
Helen has just a few hours rest before another 8 days of intensive testing. Physically exhausted, Helen still has to go through with the tests before she can hope for a clear diagnosis.
I wish I could.
Today, Helen's blood will be tested for something called anti-glycine receptor antibodies in a groundbreaking new test that was developed at Oxford University. Glycine receptors are essential for controlling muscle activity by ensuring they work in a coordinated, smooth manner. Sufferers of SPS can have high levels of anti-glycine receptor antibodies, which means the chemical command from the brain is interfered with, causing the muscles to work abnormally. To test for them, Helen will undergo a lumbar puncture.
I've never had a lumbar puncture done in my life.
Okay.
So I've seen them done on TV.
Right, don't believe everything you see on TV.
Okay, right.
It's not that bad.
A hollow needle will be inserted between 2 vertebrae in the base of Helen's spine. It's from here that a small amount of spinal fluid will be removed for testing. If high levels of anti-glycine receptor antibodies are found in Helen's spinal fluid, then this could result in a positive diagnosis of SPS and would lead the way to the treatment she so desperately needs.
Finally, I'm going to get the answers that I've been looking for. That's the most important thing to me at the present. It's like the clock is ticking, but we're coming to the end of the 24th hour. Finally, I'm going to get the answers that I've been looking for, and that's the most important thing.
After 14 long years of suffering, Helen's wait for a clear diagnosis is about to be over.
After we had done all the investigations and examining you, asking opinion of all experts, there is no evidence whatsoever about a physical organic disease.
Helen has undergone the most reliable and sophisticated tests for SPS in the world, and they have found absolutely no trace of the antibodies. She now knows for sure that whatever she's got, it's not stiff person syndrome.
Doesn't mean that you don't have symptoms, you don't have disease, you have a true disease, but you will not need immune therapy, you don't need plasma exchange, IVIG, so that is good for you.
But the question now is, what is causing her spasms?
We are referring you to a neuropsychologist and a neurologist that is expert on these type of diseases.
The team here thinks that her symptoms are not caused by problems in her nerve cells, but by her brain. They have referred her to a neuropsychologist who specialises in physical manifestations of neurological diseases.
To find out that I haven't got stiff person syndrome was a shock. Yes, I'm going to still suffer the same things. I'm going to have the same spasms. It's not going to be an overnight change. It will be as painful as if I had stiff person syndrome. But the point is, at the end, it's a different form of treatment.
She has symptoms, she has manifestations, she suffers of them, and she needs treatment, appropriate treatment for that condition.
Thank you. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
We've got our neuropsychological team are coming to see her. We're going to help her to deal with her symptoms and the difficulties that they're causing her.
Having spent so much of her life believing she has SPS, the possibility of a cure is something she can now realistically hope for. She will not have to undergo any invasive treatment, and with ongoing specialist care, her medication can be reduced which will massively improve her quality of life.
I'll be more alert. I won't be so moody, you know, and I mean, these are things that have impacted on my family.
You know I love you.
Thanks for that support. I needed it.
You know I love you.
Yeah, of course I do. Dr. Late and the team are so positive about this treatment, whatever it is they're referring me for, that there's going to be a positive outcome.
Helen is a wonderful person. She is very inspiring, she's strong, courageous.
Thanks for all the encouragement and everything.
I'm sure she will find the way to move forward.
For the first time since her illness took hold, Helen will begin a new diagnostic direction. However, there will be a long road ahead.
Helen now needs to forget the SPS syndrome. She needs to focus on herself and whatever she wants to do in her future.
This closes this chapter for me, and this now opens a new world.
Now, with this diagnosis, she will be able to see a different future.
Take care.
Thank
Look after yourself.
She was waiting for an answer, and this was the answer.
I'm going home with a different attitude, for one, and I'm looking forward to this new direction that I'm going to take.